I know, guys, I'm building a lot of arc hunter builds, but I'm really enjoying building arc hunter builds because arc hunter was not that great previously because there was no source of damage resistance or healing, that kind of stuff. But due to the major change in amplified, that's granting 15% damage resistance, arc hunter feels like he's pretty solid now. So I was really exciting trying different type of arc hunter builds. That's the reason, guys. The major drawback in arc builds, whether in any class, the hunter, warlock, or titan, it was the surviving the high-end content because there is no source of healing or damage resistance, right? So it was kind of hard in surviving in the high-end content. Now because of one small change, it's actually not small; it's a major change. The way we play the arc builds have completely changed because being amplified now grants us the 15% damage resistance. It does not seem huge in numbers, but it plays a crucial role in surviving the high-end content. Guys, especially in the non-prismatic subclass, these are some of the minor changes required to make that particular subclass shine. Because now the prismatic is everything. If you use prismatic, you can literally outplay any activities in this game. But that's not in the case of other subclass, right? They need some this kind of small changes. So now, after this one particular change, the art subclass feels like it's way better. It's way better for me. So that's the reason I'm trying different type of arc builds. Now we are gonna jolt everything in our path. So this way we can deal with the overload champions. Since we will be jolting 24/7, the overload champion, so he does not have a single chance to stand against us. Damaging a jolting target basically triggers a small lightning which passes through nearby targets. So in that way, our arc clear is pretty solid now because of the jolt. We can jolt using our melee. That's our primary source of jolting targets. We can also jolt using our grenade. So for the first aspect, we're going with Tempest Strike. The reason I'm going with this because of the second perk it provides, that is defeating any jolted target. Basically, it gives us the bolt charge. So this is what makes us trigger our bolt charge every 15 to 30 seconds. Since we will be jolting everything in our battlefield, so triggering bolt charge will be as simple. So we'll be combining it with the defibrillating blast, the artifact perk, so which adds an extra survivability. Whenever we trigger bolt charge, it basically heals us. So when we stun our champion, it grants us a max stack of bolt charge and even heals us. This adds an extra source of survivability. And one more thing about the Tempest Strike is, after using the Tempest Strike, we will also be gaining 75% of damage resistance. So this will also be one our core thing to survive in the high content. 75% is huge. It's actually pretty huge. Imagine you have a Song of Flame, you are in a Song of Flame super, you will be having 90% damage resistance there. So if you use class ability here in this subclass, you will be getting 75% damage resistance. It is almost equal to damage resistance is equal to Song of Flame. So it's pretty huge. So combining it with Spark of Resistance, we gain an additional 25% of damage resistance, which is equal to 90% of damage resistance. This build is absolute worth it. I can guarantee you that. Now we are in this build. I am going to utilize this with the exotic chess piece. That is the 6 Soit, whatever. If my pronunciation is wrong, please forgive me. So you are getting right where I'm taking you guys with this build. So we will constantly be proccing jolt, we will constantly be dodging, we will constantly be getting 75% damage resistance. Now even before using our one class ability, the other class ability will also be recharged. How the class ability will be recharged? Because our next aspect, the flow state. So we will be using the flow state. So whenever we trigger a jolted enemy, we will be amplified. So we will be amplified 24/7 as I told. So it basically triggers 200% additional class ability regen. In this way, we will be having our dodge 24/7. We will be proccing our damage resistance 24/7, and we will be jolting our targets with our melee 24/7, and we will be triggering bolt charge 24/7. So Now is one of the best part of the video. We will be dealing with two champions, that is Unstoppable and Overload, with one ability, that is with our grenade of choice. So we'll be using a flashbang grenade. So we'll also be applying a shock fragment to it. So what it basically does is it applies jolt on hit. So by applying jolt, we can easily deal with overload champions if in case your melee is not on time or you have missed your class ability. And we'll also be dealing with unstoppable champions by inflicting blind with the flashbang grenade. So in this way, we can deal with two champions with one grenade of choice. Now this is not the end. There is another way of triggering the blind. So this build is perfectly synced with dealing any activity, literally any activities. So another way to trigger the blind debuff is with our exotic weapon of choice. We will be using X Diaries, if my pronunciation is right. So whenever you are amplified, after hitting two hits with this particular grenade launcher, it releases arc soul kind of thing. So the target which the arc soul hits basically becomes blind. So in this way we can also deal with the unstoppable champions. So these are second way of proccing our blind debuff. No, that's not the end. We'll also be having the third way of proccing the blind debuff. That's by using the spark of beacons. So whenever we get a kill with our arc special or heavy ammo, so it basically releases a blinding burst. So this will be a third way to trigger the blind debuff. Believe me guys, if you keep triggering or keep proccing the blind debuff, you can literally survive in any content. If enemy has no vision on you, then what can he particularly do to you? So that's what I have designed this build for. So for extra damage instance, you can also go with strand. We can also be using our stand weapons in this build to create the unraveling debuff and also creating the severing debuff. We can also be adding the threadlings into the build. So the way I'm telling you this build is without using any of those. Imagine guys, if you use those kind of builds, how strong this build can actually be in any game of content. Okay, so enough of all the overview. I don't know, I was a little bit more excited to showcase this build. Now let's start with our abilities. For super of choice, we're gonna go with arc staff, because I personally like arc staff very much, because if if the content you are playing is majority you're dealing your enemies in the ground level, you can go with arc staff because it has a huge amount of damage. I also tried using gathering storm, but I feel like I like to proc my super very often, like around 30 to 30 seconds to 1 minute. So I decided to go with arc staff because it's actually a roaming super, and also it has 3 times regen buff. So I decided to go with arc staff. It's completely your choice. So for the abilities section, we're gonna go with Gamblers Dodge because it resets our melee. This build is completely reliant on melee, so we're gonna go with Gambler's Dodge. And for the melee, it doesn't depend on anything because if you are using Tempter Strike aspect, it's gonna overwrite our melee, so it's completely anything was fine. For a grenade of choice, we're gonna use a flashbang grenade because in that way we can deal with unstoppable champions and even overload champions. So this is one of the way to deal with champions. So for the weapon of choice, I like to say you guys can go with X Diaries because that another source of dealing blind debuff, right? So it actually impacts a huge if you are playing hard content. So you guys can go with another fusion rifle also, special ammo fusion rifle. If you guys are not having this X Diaries grenade launcher. The reason I recommend it is because triggering blind would be very easy with using this grenade launcher, and also you will be very easily amplified. There will be some situations where you cannot trigger amplified, you cannot get the jolted kill. So in that case, if you get one particular kill with this grenade launcher, you will be amplified. So there are majorly two perks boosting this weapon for the selection. So that's the reason I like to go with X Diaries. It's completely your choice. You can also go with any arc special or heavy ammo. So for the kinetic slot, it depends on the activity you are playing. You guys can go with the sidearms because it has shield piercing rounds in this season. The call also work pretty good in this build. I am using the status add-on because the reason is it has the chill clip perk. You can also deal with overload and unstoppable champions with this add-on. So I told you previously, right? I've not showcased the complete potential of this build. I just showcased the ability section of this build. If I will be adding some extra strand damage to this build, there would be next level. So if you guys want to add the strand damage as well, you guys can go with the strand sidearm in the first slot and even the strand heavy weapon in the second slot. No matter what you use, you can go with either machine gun or grenade launcher or whatever. Everything works fine in the heavy slot. I basically tested the machine gun and as well as the grenade launcher in this build. Both works pretty good. So it's completely your choice. So guys, remember, if you guys need more damage, go for strand heavy weapons. If you guys need more survivability, you guys can go with arc heavy weapons because we'll be having spark of beacons. So getting a kill while you are amplified with your arc heavy or special weapon basically triggers a blinding burst. If you guys want more survivability, you can go with arc weapons. Else you can go with strand weapons. So for the chest, exotic chest piece, we're gonna go with 6 coit, whatever it is. So it gives us an additional dot charge. Not always you guys will be missing your dot, but in case if you guys have missed that one particular dot, you'll also be having another dot. Continue your cycle. So one of the best perk of this exotic chest piece is it also grants us the copy of Reaper. So the top of power also plays a crucial role in our gameplay because whenever we pick up top of power, it basically replenishes our health. So this perfectly syncs with our build. Coming to the armor mods, the armor mods which I have used in this build is shown. Feel free to copy the armor mods, or if you guys required any changes in this build, you can also feel free to do so. Coming to the artifact perks, so these are the artifact perks which I have used. Feel free to copy. And guys, please do try this build and please do let me know how this works for you. And if you guys have also planned to change this build and to make it better, please do let me know down in the comments. We'll have a great discussion. And yep, that's it for this video. Thank you for staying this long. We'll meet ahead in the next video. Until then, stay safe and have a nice day ahead. Bye bye.